Okay, today we're taking on Ethel's Lair for our easy honor. This isn't just the fight against Ethel, but also how to overcome her traps. And you'll find that we're
Traps.
going to use some very mundane
Considerate.
items as we go through this. So if you've never thought there was any reason to pick up a bottle or a heavy stone or a skull, well, guess again, there's a great use for these. That'll be kind of fun as we go through these tunnels. But the goal is to get to Ethel without taking any serious damage or injuries, so we can just get right into the fight. So as you've been able to see, you can destroy exposed traps with just a shot from a crossbow or a bow. That's if they are not obscured. If they're still hidden by the noxious gases, you'll see that it doesn't really do any good to shoot at them. They're too obscured for us to aim properly and destroy the thing. Now, I first discovered the use of the mundane items when I was using a bottle on the goblin bear traps that are around the entrance to their base. You throw a bottle and it completely blows up the bear trap. And I thought, what other mundane uses could we utilize here? So the bottle, you'll see me experimenting, doesn't work so well on the gas vents or the traps here in Ethel's Lair, but we quickly discovered that the stone, the heavy stone, is a great way to blow up these traps. And we use skulls to cover up the openings to these poisonous vents. In addition to mundane items, we are taking on Ethel at level 5. Now, because it's easy honor, we want to steamroll through these bosses, right? So, in order to get to level 5 before you get to Ethel, you need to kill Commander Zalk and the Mind Flayer on the Nautiloid ship. That'll start you off on the beach at level 2. And then defeating the initial Goblin Assault, doing some things around the Grove, and maybe killing the bandits should get you to level 3.
Excellent.
Oops, and it looks like we should have backed up a bit before trying to throw that stone. If you take out the harpies in the Druid Grove and accomplish everything you can in the Druid Grove, take out the goblins and the tunnels underneath the grove, and then kill some of the goblins in the Blighted Village, you should be able to hit level 4 pretty easily. You really want to be level 4 when you're facing the Owlbear Mother, the Woodwoads and the Mudmephits, the Redcaps, confronting Kaga, there's taking on the goblin bosses and basically destroying all of the goblins. If you do all of that and kill the face spiders leading up to the Matriarch, you should be able to hit the Matriarch, Ethel, Paladins of Tyr at level 5, which should allow you to just steamroll right over those guys. Now, Ethel's Lair contains 2 separate entrances to the Underdark. One is a giant hole you can feather fall down through, which is right under Mayrina's cage. And the other is a wooden door that you need a mask in order to get through, and we're going to walk over this way to show you how to get to that.
That's right. Someone doesn't like visitors.
Now, if we head over this way, we'll see another wooden door, similar to the first one we had, but this one does not just let us walk through it. It's not simply mirage. We actually need to wear a mask, one of Ethel's masks, in order to get through here, but we don't want to risk doing that until after we've defeated Ethel. This is one of the 2 entrances to the Underdark from Ethel's Lair. So that gives you the general idea of how to get through these traps. First, identify the poisonous vent, throw a skull on it to block out all the poison, throw heavy stones to blow up the traps, or take the time to disarm them if you want. Shoot them with arrows, they'll go away. As far as taking on Ethel, in addition to people who can hit really, really hard, it's also very helpful to have Magic Missile. This is because Ethel's legendary ability is to create mirages of herself repeatedly. So she'll create an initial set of mirages, and what you'll find on Honor Mode is that when you destroy all those mirages, she'll create more. Every single round she gets a legendary action to create additional mirages. So you want to use Magic Missile and take out the copies as quickly as possible, because they can actually hurt you. They do damage, they aren't just a mirage. So I'm trying to take Ethel by surprise, but I don't seem to be able to identify her. So if you figure out a way to catch Ethel by surprise when she's down her lair, let me know.
Spice my stew! Just get out of here! You want the girl so bad.
So the first and most important thing to do is either to put out the fire on Mayrina's cage or lower the cage so she can get out. It's usually easier just to douse it with some water, but that will prevent her from falling to her death. If you actually jump down this hole with Featherfall, you'd land in the Underdark.
Maybe I should. No, this is good.
It's just occurring to me that if you look at the portraits up top, Ethel went first, and all of her copies go after you. And I think you can just click on her portrait, and it should show you which one she is. So you could just click on that first portrait, see exactly who the hag is, attack her, and that should dispel all of her copies. Better late than never.
With ease.
If you're enjoying these detailed breakdowns of how to easily wipe out bosses in honor mode, please feel free to give a like and share, and subscribe for additional honor mode content. Now you'll notice we aren't hitting two of the copies, one up on the ledge and one that's just barely outside of our range, but it doesn't really matter whether we hit them all. We only have to hit the real hag to disperse all of the images. Here we're experiencing Ethel's legendary action Weird Magic Surge firsthand.
Time to kill.
Nothing will stand in my way.
Let's have some.
Sometimes the only way out is through.
So both our Tav Bard and our Rogue Ranger have the all-in sharpshooter feature, which basically subtracts 5 to your attack roll in order to add 10 to the damage. Because a lot of these guys are just mirror images, they don't really need a lot of damage. So we're missing because we have the sharpshooter feat on, so we need to turn it off in order to increase our chances of getting a hit on some of these guys.
Survival is all that matters. Breathe deep and move.
Let's spill some blood. This will do nicely.
Enough! Don't do this!
So our Gel is 1 level wizard, but the rest of these levels are a sorcerer, which gives him the ability to cast quicken spells, which will let him cast the spells as bonus action.
Enough! Don't do this!
I will ascend.
Now that we've disposed of all the copies, it's time to go in and hit hard.
Stop it! All of you! Leave me here!
Mistra Rill. Good move.
Brought something like you here!
Now, Ethel just used Vicious Mockery on Lae'zel. Vicious Mockery is actually a great spell. If the hag ever duplicates Mayrina, you can use it for a very low damage. And if you accidentally hit Mayrina, it won't kill her outright. So usually we're going for high damage, but in this case it's very beneficial to have a low damage spell just to identify who's who if you don't have any better way to do it.
Stop it! All of you!
Now, perhaps the best tactic we failed to use on here is one we're actually set up for to begin with as the Drow and Bard. and that's the use of fairy fire. Fairy fire will keep people from turning invisible, so it would stop the hag from turning invisible, which prevents her from multiplying herself with one of her methods that she uses, and it also would make it easy to identify her if she copies Mayrina and tries to be Mayrina, because she'd be the one with the fairy fire condition on her. So I would highly recommend and encourage using that near the start of the battle. In addition, it makes them way easier to hit because you have advantage on attacks. You'd be more likely to get a critical as well.
Enough! Leave me here! Stop it! All of you! Enough! Don't do
I don't fancy their chances.
Indeed.
Always keep in mind when you're fighting the hag that if you want to get the hair for the +1 to your ability score, you want to make sure she has at least 20% or less of her health remaining. If you do end up killing the hag, you won't get the hair, but you do get the benefit of taking her necklace, which gives you advantage on death saving throws. And you can also use the basilisk oil to free the dwarf who's been turned to stone, and he will no longer be sick since Ethel has been defeated for now.
Time to strike.
So with our Wave the Open Hand Monk, we've essentially just punched Ethel 4 times, 3 attacks, and done 52 points of damage. And this is why it's so beneficial to be level 5, because you can just steamroll these bosses. No one's really been hurt or downed, and that's what makes this an easy on a battle.
Wait just a tick!
Killing me is a waste of time. I'll find a way to return. Always have, always will. But it's unpleasant. So how about we be civilized about this, hmm? I have something you want.
I knew I liked you, dearie. Let me leave with the girl, and I'll give you power. You want to be stronger, tougher, smarter? Done. Anything is possible. Just let me keep the girl and her babe.
Trading some wealth we just met for impossible power. It's a fine deal.
It's your choice, sweetness.
In order to get the hair and save Mayrina in one go, we have to overcome a DC, a difficulty challenge rating of 20, which is why a bard is so valuable in this game. With guidance, we should easily be able to overcome this. We did end up having to roll twice, but we received a 28 on the second roll, so you really definitely want a charisma-based character, and bard is the best of the best when it comes to persuading people, deceiving people, most of the time.
I'll not soon forget this sweetness. You have my word.
But the deal? What about my husband? What happens to him?
Deal's off, you dumb cow. And you've her to thank for it. Not that it matters. I'll find another just as plump and ripe. I can set up shop elsewhere. People always need lotions and potions. If I ever see you again, you'll have a tentacle for a tongue. Bye-bye, Petal.
After defeating Ethel, we can put on one of the masks of the masked servants safely and go through the wooden door that we found earlier. This takes us into the Underdark and gets us 80 experience points when we just walk over by the food here. I've already picked up the points. When you consider that you got 150 experience points for defeating Ethel and 80 just for walking through this door, that's pretty good experience for just finding the hidden door.